PharmaPhobic is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, a company dedicated to helping you empower your health, redefine your lifestyle, and all for the health of it. You're listening to PharmaPhobic, where we challenge the state of health in America. I'm Janie, a physician assistant, and I've seen how healthcare keeps people dependent instead of truly healthy.
And I'm Dan, a veteran turned fitness pro here to uncover the truth and explore simple and sustainable health solutions. From big pharma to big food, we're exposing the conflicts of interest keeping us sick and finding better ways to take back our health.
No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk, real solutions, and a little bit of fun along the way.
Hello there.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of PharmaPhobic, powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, where we help you become the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of yourself. I'm here with a few people. Some of them you might know. We got Janine in the corner, our producer. Yeah.
Wow.
And I got my lovely wife, Janie.
Hi.
Had to keep you guessing. You know? To keep you guessing.
I see how you mentioned me second.
Yep.
Save the best for last.
Oh, did I
Good
just?
save.
My sleep is already a little funky, and I think I just earned sleep in the couch.
No, we don't do that. Stop.
Saving the best for last is always good, Janie.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, I just spent 2 hours at the DMV, guys. That it's great for your health.
Let's talk about why Dan had to make an appointment as soon as possible. Because everyone knows when you go to the DMV, get the first appointment in the morning so that you don't get pushed behind from other people. So why did you have to go smack in the middle of the day because you needed to get it done as soon as possible?
We ain't worried about that.
Okay.
We ain't worried about that.
So basically, well, I'll tell you, there's people who are very proactive and maybe they worry about things happening so that they take precautions to get insurance and stuff like that and follow rules because they don't want to get in trouble. And then that person marries somebody who's the complete opposite, like Dan.
I do not worry about normal stuff. This is correct. So,
Well,
what can I say?
So he had to go register his car and get Florida plates because he still had Texas plates. And when did we move from Texas?
I've been in Florida for 4 years come November, and you 3 and some change.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
That's not even saying when we lived in Texas, though.
Oh, Texas was 2018. when we
Yeah.
left, But, hey, listen, guys, it's all good. It's all good. We're here. We're gonna bring you another episode of PharmaPhobic. It's all good. I went to the DMV.
So let's talk
They're
about,
very nice.
I've mentioned here before about reframing. Oh, I had to spend 2 hours at the DMV. Well, thank God I had to spend 2 hours at the DMV to register my car that I haven't done in 7 years. And that I didn't get into more trouble by getting pulled over or, God forbid, an accident where I didn't have a registered car.
A lot of those things could have. True.
Yeah, so reframing.
Hey,
So
listen,
2
that's
hours
true.
at DMV,
Fair,
small price
fair,
to pay.
Fair. And you know what? The DMV here in Delray Beach, Florida, they're very nice.
They're pleasant.
Shout out DMV. They're very nice. You go in there like kind of white knuckling, expecting the worst experience. Actually, they're very nice. I made an appointment. They saw me 2 hours later, but hey, it's taken care of, and they were nice. Okay.
All right,
So,
Amy Woody.
Amy Woody.
A little passive. I made an appointment. They saw me 2 hours later. I caught that.
Just have to put that in there, but it's all good. We're
So
good.
anyway, today we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to follow up because we got our GI map results back. It's exciting stuff. Dan, I asked him last night, did you get your sleep study results back? And he said, no. But I also haven't looked, so it's a mystery whether he has his sleep study results back or
We'll discuss
not.
the sleep study at some other point. You know, what has it been, 2 weeks now? I think it's 2 weeks since I got my sleep study.
29th you went in?
Yeah, 29th of
Yeah.
August. So, yeah, almost 2 weeks. So, here's the thing, guys. It's a VA thing. So, I would expect the results sometime between 2 weeks after and 2 years after. Whatever. But at some point, we'll bring out the sleep study results. I also, in all fairness, have not look to see if they populated. But
Okay.
whatever.
All right. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about, we're going to tie in why we did our GI map, the results of it, and what we're going to do with the results, and how that's we believe is a missing link in a lot of people evaluating their baseline health and being proactive. Because if anyone's been watching the news or social media, you saw that recently Secretary RFK Jr. was in front of Congress, right?
Yeah, I believe it's a
Senate or
congressional
Congress?
hearing. Yeah.
And he reported a statistic about the number of people in the U.S. who have at least one chronic disease and how that compares to when his uncle was president, so in the 60s, right?
Yep.
Late 50s, early 60s.
60s, early 60s.
Yeah. And then also in 1950. And just how we need, it is on, I looked it up, it's on the CDC website. He said he just got the results. These results are from 2023. It's hard to get real-time results because it's data you have to collect.
But you also, they report the year prior, so these numbers would have come out last year.
Yeah. But they're similar to what he reported. So,
Yeah.
and the CDC.
What I'm saying is he wouldn't have even been Secretary of Health
right.
when these numbers came out.
Okay, I understand. And these numbers are alarming. And like I said, it's on the CDC website. And I just want to, like, who goes to the CDC website? Aside from when COVID happened, or if you're traveling, those are the two times I, as a practitioner, was on the website. Because when I have patients come in, say they're traveling to India or some remote parts of Asia, they have to be updated on certain vaccines or receive like anti-malaria medication to take with them or prior to leaving. And so the CDC has a feature on there, whether you're a patient or a provider, to where you can look up and see what diseases, what warnings, what risk level, depending on what country where they're going, and what protocols to discuss with the patient. So I've used it for that. And then with when I was working in New York and COVID happened and I had to give work notes for people, I had to be up to date on the most recent recommendations per the CDC of isolation, return to work, all these things. Other than that, when do people go to the CDC website?
I used it a few years, maybe like 2 years ago, because I was compiling that heart disease data from 2019 to the present.
Right,
but other than that, I don't think anybody really uses that.
Right, there's a wealth of information on there, and I'll read what it says, but how come it's not the forefront in a lot of news lines, media, social media, things like that, and why is it not in the forefront of what providers are talking to people about?
I don't think people like hearing how bad things are in certain areas.
Right, but if we... Like I coined this term this past weekend or so when we were at dinner. You have to know to grow. Okay. Nobody wants to know. All right. I didn't want to go to my dermatology appointment today because I didn't want to find another lesion that may have been cancerous, but I had my dermatology appointment today. No new lesions. So it's great. All right. No suspicious lesions. But I understand, like, sometimes you don't want to get blood work done. You don't want to get that mammogram. You don't want to do stuff because what if something bad happens or is found? But if you don't know, you can't grow better or find ways to mitigate it or nip it in the butt if it's early, things like that. And so
awareness precedes change.
Yes. And that's one of the things that is a huge problem with conventional medicine. And so for example, I had that discussion with the CMO, the medical director of the practice I was at up in New York, about how on our blood tests, it wouldn't mark somebody's glucose, or 3-month average glucose A1C abnormal until it was 6.5, which is diabetes. Pre-diabetes, we know, is 5.7 to 6.4. And it's marked normal. And I'm like, well, if we're not bringing this to patients' attention when it's 5.8, 5.9, 6.1, and we don't even tell them there's an issue until it's 6.5, well, you already need a medication you have the disease. There's no time to let them know that. Not to mention A1C isn't the best test. I mean, I've talked about before, fasting insulin is superior, but if it's what we have, we're not even utilizing it in a preventative way.
I guess the question there is, if you gave somebody a heads up that they're trending in a negative direction, and you gave them a heads up 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, a year ahead, be like, hey, this isn't looking great. By your next checkup, we want to see it here, whatever. If you did give them that and they got proactive or started doing something about it, and then they came back to you with a better blood work because they decided to take some action towards, healthier living, how would you then make money by missing the opportunity to inject somebody into the treadmill of pharma, polypharmacy, and be like, hey, let me just wait till he's diabetic so I can drop all these prescriptions on him and have him in here every 3 months checking up. Now you have somebody that on the treadmill. You missed an opportunity because somebody took charge and decided to change their lives for the better outside of, jumping on the polypharmacy treadmill. I can't think of another reason. Can you think of another reason?
I'll give you the reason I was given, that it creates too much work to address blood work that's trending abnormal, but not yet abnormal.
And then when they're sick, are they going to create too much work? I think you've discussed this on a previous episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then they have all these checkups that they have to do and all these medications that you got to drop on.
But you have to think of it this way. As a medical and we'll stick with the example of diabetes. As a medical provider, classically trained, do you know more about what medications to prescribe if somebody has diabetes, or what lifestyle with nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, supplementation to instruct somebody on if they're trending with prediabetes? Which one do they know more of? They know more about the medications.
No doubt.
Right? And also, what takes more time, writing a script or spending time educating on lifestyle? Right? And so it's many different. Yes, you're right. You can tell this man was at the DMV for 2 hours. That's a very negative stance.
But it's gloomy, but
it's like an ominous, I don't think all providers are sitting there being like, how can I squeeze? I'm not going to tell them. They're like, I don't think that they're that, right?
The provider, not necessarily the provider, but maybe the CMO.
But I do think that they're set up from education for that to happen. And then the CMO is promoting, don't worry about it if it's trending abnormal, only address things that are abnormal, okay? And then just the complacency. I think I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about sort of that whole wheel of healthcare, how it seems to just perpetuate a cycle of not preventing illness, but waiting for it to happen and then managing it. And a lot of providers out there, and I will 100% be honest that I feel the pull for this sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to put in the effort to talk to people because I can see how easy it is just to shut off my mind and just, okay, here's this med, here's this med, here's this med, here's this med, and just end my day. I can understand the pull of that. It would probably have kept me in places of employment longer. My salary may be more. I may, all these things may have happened because a lot of providers recognize, and this isn't facts, this is what I've observed and I've heard. A lot of providers recognize that they're not truly helping people, right? But they have $300,000 in loans or whatever. And they just need to shut up and put up and do it. And, nobody's helping them because they went to school to help people, but yet they have all these loans, and student loans are the only loans that can't be forgiven, right? Unless you fell under that whatever, which was BS, because I know people who had never made a payment on their loans and it was forgiven, and I've been diligent with my payments, and can a girl get anything? No, but that's fine. I'm not asking for a handout. But nobody's helping them. Nobody's helping them educate people, giving them more time with patients, helping them with not being able to take work home. So why should they help other people? Why shouldn't they just follow the flow of just give them meds, see them back in 2 weeks, order labs, give them meds, refer out, see them back, order meds, refer out, like that cycle.
This is why I'm team burn it down. That, straight up. That's why I'm team. And I mean, I know that's kind of, catastrophic thinking, but it's so convoluted and so co-opted and so confusing even to the people that play in the system. The doctors don't understand the system properly. The providers are having, the nurse, people that play in the health insurers are not, it's a mess. People that belong in the system don't really understand it. They don't really, they're caught up, they're dragging something and they're being dragged along on something. Imagine the people that are outside the system, the people that are going to the system for answers and they're not getting them because the people in the system don't necessarily have answers for them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I mean, how I am when something's like, I can't put it together. I'm just like, "Rawr," and I can't open the bag of chips. I literally just
100%.
like cut it and just rip it open. With something like this, I'm like, I think we're going to have to start over. I think we're going to have to build something simpler. Okay. Simplicity always makes more sense than, it's a complex issue. Health is a complex thing. If you inject complexity in your solutions into it, you're going to end up with a big old ball of whatever this thing is that we have now. So to keep it PG, so the solutions need to be simple. You inject simple solutions into a complex problem and hopefully it turns into something more manageable. And I think we almost have to start over. I mean, that's a lot. The student loan thing, the PBMs, the health insurance companies, the medical groups that are buying up all the private clinics. So now there's no family clinics. There's only going to be these big medical groups that have clinics all over the place. That's a mess.
Yeah.
And, this for-profit thing, which, hey, listen, if you do a good job at anything, you should get paid for it. And you should get paid for it well. So I'm not saying that doctors shouldn't be making money. I'm not saying that. But if you're, let me get a little bump on my stuff because I put certain amount of people on a certain medication, the kickbacks and that sort of thing,
right, but
that's a problem.
That's where the illusion happens, right? Because I've received pretty hefty bonuses for keeping people healthy, okay? And the way it worked out with this one insurance company, they were projected to spend X amount of money on their patients for the year. If we fulfilled certain things and kept them healthier, kept them out of the hospital, free of disease, stuff like that, and they were under, then we were rewarded. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. It was done legally. I know that if you say it a wrong way, it can be anyway, but I was keeping them healthy, meaning everyone got all the vaccines. If they had diabetes or they didn't matter. They were on their necessary medication, statins. And some of the this is where it gets hard because some of the guidelines are good. Like you get dinged if you give antibiotics for a bronchitis, right? Because you should not. Mm-hmm. It's not indicated and it could potentially cause more harm. That's great. But mixed in with that is also everybody needs to have the HPV vaccine. No questions asked. Everybody needs to have a mammogram, colonoscopy, all these things, no questions asked. So there's good things in there, but it's also some stuff that, HPV vaccine, is that,
we need to the parameters for health need to be redefined.
It's hard as providers because you can have the greatest intent, like you really want to help people, but one thing that I get concerned with is with all of our interventions that we have as providers, specifically medications, are we helping or are we enabling? And it's a very fine line and it depends on the patient because some patients will, they'll take a medication, but then they'll try their hardest to improve their lifestyle so that they can maybe get off of it or stay at a low dose. And I have people who are like, give me my med because I want to keep doing what I'm doing, which got me here. I'm making no changes, but I got a med, so I am okay. And I've been told that my blood work's improving and good job for me. I didn't do anything, but I took a med. I dislike that. If somebody takes the medication and does not change their lifestyle, why are we congratulating them on that?
Yeah, honestly, like a lot of these metrics are to call somebody healthy are dependent on an external thing, namely like, oh, you took this medicine, you did this procedure, you're healthy.
Oh, so
Not,
this is-
hey, your blood work, it looks like this, you're getting this much movement, your body composition is within this, we don't have osteoporosis. Like those things are I feel like are better, like actual health
Yeah.
and better determinants of how much medical care you may or may not need in the future, right? If, you know, your A1C is in check, if your triglycerides are in check, you know, your iron, all your nutrients and all that stuff is up to par, your body composition, you know, body fat percentage is in check, bone density is in check. All these things are better predictors of long-term health, right?
Yeah.
Versus I'm on a statin and my cholesterol looks really good.
Yeah, but
And
your
I
body
still-
composition's not being checked within the conventional
No,
model.
which I don't know why these people don't do at least get in bodies at every medical clinic.
That's a great question. I
At
tried to get one
least-
in the clinic I was at, but
Fam, the medical clinic, y'all have paper out the wazoo. Don't make
not all
me.
of them do.
Well, don't make me break out the healthcare numbers now and how much money healthcare is making. It's the biggest sector of the GDP. Why can't the clinics have in bodies?
Well, because I think a lot of the clinics, like you said, aren't self-owned.
Even
And
more
so-
so, that means they have this medical conglomerate type of paper.
Right,
to
but
get
the
'cause-
actual practice isn't the one with all the money. Who's getting the money?
Oh, you see now
we
we're
have
getting
a friend,
to the crux of
so
the
we
issue.
have a friend who's a gynecologist who worked for a practice, and he was suspicious because why wasn't he didn't see it didn't make sense to him the amount that was coming in, and it, you know, he was suspicious that the money was going to the
Conglomerates.
people not actually boots on the ground doing the work, which is
Yeah.
very, very disappointing. And so why are we bringing this all up? Okay, to that stat that I mentioned, that RFK Jr. So in 2023, so 2023, 76.4 of U.S. adults reported one or more chronic conditions. Midlife was 59.5. Excuse me. Young was 59.5. Midlife was 78.4. And older adults were 93%.
93% of older adults have a chronic condition.
Yes.
So everybody
Yes.
la-da-da-da.
Yes. And so approximately 6 in 10 young, 8 in 10 midlife, and 9 in 10 older U.S. adults report one or more chronic disease. Trends and conditions worsen among young adults for the past 10 years prior to 2023, recognizing the burden of chronic disease throughout life stages, especially earlier in life. Practitioners and partners may consider prevention and management approaches critical for addressing cost, care, and health outcomes. Practitioners may also consider tailoring these approaches to unique roles, transitions, and changes in different life stages. And they say that the majority of these are influenced by modifiable lifestyle risk factors, excessive alcohol use, tobacco use, physical inactivity, and poor nutrition.
I like how they put it on there, right there. Like right
That's
there.
what I'm saying. It's on the CDC,
It's on,
but it's not in practice.
Yeah, the mainstream freaking agency is this. These are not, you know, fringe people or conspiracy theories. They're out here recommending, hey, you guys are drinking too much. You're using too much tobacco. You're not moving enough. And they're saying it, but if you make that suggestion out down in the line, right? Down in the front lines of it at the medical clinic, or you're talking to somebody and you say, hey, maybe you should do one of these two things to kind of deal with this issue that you have, you're crazy. You're insane.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Check. Got it, guys.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so knowing that with chronic diseases, and they say a lot of them are due to excessive alcohol, tobacco, being sedentary, and poor nutrition. When you go to a conventional medicine provider, say for your annual wellness, they do screenings for tobacco and they offer counseling. Screenings for alcohol can offer counseling, though. Okay, I'll go into that in a second. There's not good screening on exercise and diet. That's more just a yes, no question. Do you eat a healthy diet? Yes or no? Do you exercise regularly? Yes or no? And there's a lot missing outside of that yes or no question, because I can say, yeah, I exercise regularly. I go for a 10-minute walk 2 times a week. That's exercise, and I do that regularly. Okay.
The guidelines, the parameters have to be better set, and people have to actually know what it takes.
And eat a healthy diet. Do you know how many times I've talked to people? Do you eat a healthy diet? Yes. Tell me what you mean by a healthy diet. Cereal in the morning.
Yep.
That's not a healthy diet.
I that one I get a lot, because I ask people, oh, my nutrition's on point, I eat clean. And then when I ask, what'd you have for breakfast? Then I get the oatmeal.
Yep.
And I'm like, just oatmeal. No eggs, no
So,
little parfait on the side or something like that.
So there's a lot left on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the screening with tobacco, everybody knows smoking is bad for you. The fact that people still start smoking blows my mind. Okay. But we know it's been complicated now by the information that nicotine's good for you. Right.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to buy into that.
So there can be some benefits of nicotine.
Supposedly it's a nootropic, but
yes.
The thing is how you're getting nicotine delivered, is going to be a problem.
It's the dose.
Yep.
And how frequently. So I know Huberman's talked about it, and he does like a very small amount 2 times a week. He's also not a man who easily becomes addicted to things. Mm-hmm. You take somebody who is. Do you think that they can stop with just having nicotine, a small dose twice a week? Well, now let me do it 3 times a week. Now let me get a higher dose. Now I'm doing it every day.
If it gives you a focus zinger, you're like, oh, yeah, you feel that nootropic effect, then you might be after that more often than that, until next thing you know, you got to put 5 Zyn packets in your mouth.
Exactly.
At the same time.
So the smoking, we know it's bad. There's great education. There's great strategies to help people quit smoking. There's a ton, right? Alcohol, this one's trickier, because this one, I have seen it, is heavily influenced by the provider themselves' consumption of alcohol. You have a patient that says, like, I drink 3 glasses of wine every night. To me, that's alarming.
Yeah.
What if I was a provider who had a couple glasses of wine every night?
I mean, 3 glasses of wine, you're damn near clearing a bottle every night.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just, I have a glass of wine every single night to come down from my workday. A lot of people would be like, that's great. That sounds relaxing. To me, I'm like, red flag, red flag. Why do you need wine to come down? Why are you dependent upon that to come down? And so that's one thing that I will harp on again and again and again. The health of the provider will influence how they approach optimizing the health of their patient. We know for a fact that if a provider is obese, they're not going to talk about the patient's weight with them if they're overweight or obese. They're less likely, If a provider is drinking alcohol every day, are they going to call somebody out for drinking alcohol every day? If the provider is reliant upon polypharmacy to manage their chronic issues, are they going to help somebody with their lifestyle to prevent it? Or just going to be like, well, this stuff works for me, so it'll work for you too. That's a problem.
That is a problem. Now, he said 76%.
76.4.
So that computes 76%. If we look at obesity numbers in adults, it's at about 70% plus. When you take the morbidly obese category and the obese category and you put them together, you end up with about 72% was the last number I saw. So that computes 76% chronic illness. What is it? 88% supposedly lack metabolic flexibility. It was the number thrown around over the years of the dark ages of the past few years.
I don't know about that one, but I do know that only, I think, 4 to 6% of the population is metabolically healthy.
Yeah, so that might be down. The number they were throwing around back in the dark ages 3 years ago was 88% of the population had metabolic issues.
Yeah.
So you had about 12% that were considered metabolically healthy. I'm sure that number trended downward with the dark ages that we just went through, because things did not, listen, y'all got crazy during the dark ages now. People celebrating their 10 a.m. martini on a Tuesday type of thing, you know? I'm in my PJs for 5 days straight now. It's like, God, this isn't going to end well. You know what I mean? And it did not.
Yeah.
But I think the average weight gain for the pandemic was 40 pounds.
Oh, I remember that because they were comparing it to the freshman 15.
Yeah.
Right?
The COVID 40.
Oh, I thought it was
40 pounds is a significant amount of weight to gain.
Did you put on freshman 15?
I put on the freshman 30. I mean, I got, your boy got chunky in college, y'all. Your boy
It's one of my most favorite photos.
Got chunky in college, as my friends can attest. You know what's funny about that? You know what? Let's transitioning the topic here a little bit, because I think this pertains to people, how things get out of hand and you don't realize how bad it is until one day you get smacked. So my friends, and they'll listen to this because they're among the 2 people that listen to this. And
come on, we have like consistently 25. Okay. Let's like talk about how Steve says, if you had 25 people in a room and you were talking with them, that's pretty, that's not bad.
No, but be serious when they'll laugh, because it was funny. I was athletic in high school. I swam, I played basketball, played volleyball, and I joined the gym. I would run too when I was in the swim team. Like, running was my off-season thing. So I had abs in high school. I was in pretty good shape. I got to college, senior year of high school, I kind of stopped doing sports and then just whatever, playing chess, playing music, just doing the complete opposite. I got to college, I put on that weight, and I didn't notice it. I used to smoke in college. Mom, I never told you I smoked in college. Hi. I'm sure she knew. But I used to smoke, a regular smoker in college. Drinking was from Thursday night to Sunday, afternoon. You're eating out, all this stuff, whatever. But I gained a crap ton of weight. So I found myself at about 220 pounds. Wow.
But tell them how you found, because you didn't believe it that you weighed
I
that
didn't
much.
believe it. So my boy Gardy, he was telling me, he's like, bro, you need to like do something. He's kind of calling me out. I'm like, listen, I'm good, bro. If I when I hit 200, I'll start doing something about it. Till then, I'm good. So that afternoon, I remember I went home and I got on the scale and I was 220. 220. I got off, I got back on, I got off, I got back on. And I was like, yo, 220 is hefty. For reference, I'm 5'9", and right now I'm about 186, 187 pounds is what I weigh right now. So that day, I started. I had another friend of mine. He was doing Atkins at the time. Y'all remember Atkins? So that's basically low carb, whatever. So I started doing that. As a Puerto Rican growing up on the island, to go Atkins, no carb is
No rice.
No rice.
No mofongo.
No mofongo, no plantains, no rice, no bread, no beans. Like, listen, Puerto Rican plate, you get rice, you get beans, you get a roll on the side, you get plantains. You know what I'm saying? You might get a little potato salad, and then you get the meat on top of that. So that broke my heart. But I did that. Little bit of weight came off. Not great, because, nobody told me beer wasn't Atkins friendly.
Oh my gosh. This is when we talk about we've been through the evolution. This is the origin story.
Yeah. So, but really, what did it for me, where I started I started working out at that point, and I was wayward. I was 20. I was very wayward. Like I was in college, but I didn't know what I was majoring in finance at the time. I didn't know if I wanted to. I knew I didn't want to do that actually, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was just wayward, doing whatever. I decided to join the military. That's where it locked in. And my dad convinced me not to drop college. He said, you know what, if you're going to go in, go be an officer. So go to ROTC. So there I went to ROTC. And that I had to work out. They started making me work out. The first time I worked out since high school sports, I had to run 2 miles, which is the test. It might have taken me 25 minutes to run 2 miles. And the next day, my body hurt it, guys. It hurt it. My body hurt it.
Did you do it like without stopping, or did you have to walk parts of it?
Girl, it's 8 laps on a 400-meter track. I drugged myself, walked, ran a little bit. I thought I could just do it.
Yeah.
You know, but I was heavy. I was 220-ish, 215-ish by then. Little Atkins might have taken a couple pounds off. And I was with my boy Tybo. Shout out Tybo too. And he's still in the military. Good for him. And now he's a colonel. He's a field grade officer. But anyway, we both sucked so bad. And, you know, legs hurt, everything. But I started. And I remember my dad saying, "You really going to do this? You're going to wake up every morning to work out?" I was like, I don't have a choice. And I started doing it, waking up every morning to go run after somebody who would pace me. And, you know, my freaking fat behind, you know, quit the cigarettes right there and started working out. And about a month in, I remember I had a moment where I could run. I could run a mile. I could run the 2 miles without stopping. And I was like, you know what? I'm never not going to do this. I remember it was the sun wasn't out. It might have been 5-something in the morning, and I was pounding the pavement, and I was out there, and I was like, I'm never not going to pursue being in shape.
When's the last time you ran a mile?
So here's the thing. Being in shape has been reframed over the years. And now I used to run a lot of distance. Yeah, that's a funny question. Because I used to run a lot of distance. Like it was all I did. Because in the military back then, that was your barometer. How fast can you run, right? So everybody cared about your 2-mile time. And I got fast. I got pretty fast, above average. You know, my mile splits were in the 5s, 550s.
If you refer back to a previous episode where he gloated about how he was above average.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
times.
I have to make the point here. But here's the thing. This day and age, at 42 years old, you couldn't pay me to run distance. I'll sprint all day.
It's not even distance. You ask him to lead a warm-up in jiu-jitsu and just run around the mats. I've seen he's very similar to an older woman in a sweatsuit power walking. That's you.
I mean, I'm having fun at that point,
No,
but
I know.
absolutely, and it's not that it's taxing. I just hate it. I think I ran it out of me. Like I found other ways to build my aerobic capacity up. And listen, guys, honestly, now in my 40s and stuff, I can recommend you a myriad of ways to actually build your aerobic capacity that do not involve you out there running, logging in miles. If you want to do that, if you feel called to running, then I can help you there too. And getting your mile splits down, if that speaks to you, yeah, that's great. I mean, it's better than being on the couch. Hello.
Right,
but if you think
yes.
you need it to get in shape, I can tell you no.
Because I've talked to a bunch of people who it's like, okay, we need to start exercising, but I don't want to run. Who said you had to run to start exercising?
Yeah, especially, you know, if you're starting later in life, and especially if you're heavier, like I did it all wrong. Obviously, youth was on my side, but at 220, without chunky, I was chunky. To start running, you know, my legs hurt like a mofo. So it wasn't a good idea. Yeah. But I would do it completely different if I could go back. No, I'd probably do it the same. I had to toughen up.
I think you had to. That was just the
I didn't have a
evolution of
choice.
having-
But yeah,
because with how how much the military stressed running, you had to. Like you couldn't.
Yeah. Now the physical fitness standards are completely different.
Right.
You have to lift weights. You have to do other things. The kind of shape that I was in back then probably wouldn't fly right now because I dropped from 220. I dropped to 155. Yeah, I was a runner. Like that's what I did. I was a
You were so
runner.
little.
I was tiny. I looked at those pictures. Maybe I'll find a picture of me at 155. Tiny. Like my head stuck out over my body.
Yeah. And he's got a big head. And I'm like, no.
The t-shirt sleeves were like just floating, just
Yeah.
skinny boy. And my uniform, when I finally went on active duty, my uniform was like just hanging on me. Like it looked huge. A couple years later, then I got into CrossFit and then I filled in and then I looked like a normal person in my uniform. But those first years, I was just skinny.
Yeah.
But I could run like the wind. Now, wow, we went on a journey there.
Yeah.
Wow, took it
So
back.
no, but it's a great transition because prior to us coming in today, Dan said he wanted to talk about how his training has modified since now that we're both in our 40s.
Yeah, so you're finding out too. Listen, I know I look beautiful, like this beard and this ebony
This is what I live
skin.
with.
Everything looks so nice. I put tallow on this
I
right
get
here.
told every day, I'm like, I think I have like wrinkles coming in, and Dan's just like, black don't crack.
Yep, black don't crack. Just saying. I mean, I have, these beautiful Puerto Rican jeans. I put tallow on this skin right here. I take care of the black so that it doesn't crack, And I'm 42. I know I don't look like it, guys. Come on now. But Janie just joined me in her 40s.
Oh my goodness.
She turned 40 this year. So,
Not recently, back in January.
but you're a baby 40-ish. You're a baby in your 40s. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I told her that things were going to get a little different when she turned 40 because she was already making fun of me when I turned 40. Why were you making fun of me, Janie?
Because you old.
That and my eyesight, it's leaving me, guys. It's leaving. My eyesight has
We
left the
were
building.
at Target the other day, and I hand him readers, and he puts them on, and he's like, yeah, they help. And I'm like, okay, we're going to buy them. Man, I don't need anybody to tell me. I know. And he puts them back. Like, you're just asking for it to get it worse faster.
I was telling one of my clients today, he's 44, so he's 45. And he's like, yeah, I held out for like 4 years and then it was really bad.
Yeah.
So he was giving me his story of how he held out, but it started at 40 for him as well. So anyway, that she started making fun of me because my eyesight was going bad. But I told her,
I would have made fun of you about your eyesight going bad if you were 35. It didn't have anything to do with you being 40.
but you just were harping on it because I was 40 and it happened literally the week after I turned 40. So what I told her is like, wait till you join me. You're going to see that some things are going to change, right? So I'm slowly compiling and learning, because this is part of the journey here in PharmaPhobic, that we are going through the health journey ourselves, right? And we're not sitting up here in some ivory tower telling you like, I'm healthy and you're not. Listen to me.
We struggle sometimes.
We struggling with it too. We're just a little bit further along on the struggle. So I figured that things would start changing at 40. And then, me listening to other coaches that I look up to that are turning 50, they talk about this. I'm like, okay, I'm taking notes, but now I'm confirming information. So I'm putting kind of my thoughts around, putting together my thoughts around how to train at 40. Because what it boils down to is that we're still going to get after it. We're still going to pursue the strongest, healthiest, most capable version of yourself. It just, the way you go about it is going to look different, right? Mm-hmm. So in part of my 20s and my 30s were spent in the CrossFit thing, right? Yours as well. Mm-hmm. That is out the window. It's been out the window for a couple of years, because then I transitioned into more performance-based stuff. Then I started coaching, and obviously I adopted that model for myself as well. But there are things that your body is literally telling you that it doesn't necessarily want to do them anymore. Mm-hmm. And one, you'll stop responding to them. Two, you might feel banged up more than usual when you do them. Or three, you're just mentally don't want to, you're like, I got to go to the gym. And it's more of a drag to get into it, right? You're like really dreading going to the gym or that sort of thing. You have to listen to that. And that's literally your body and your psyche. You're telling you bro, this thing has run its course. i.e. for me, running miles. No, not happening. Don't care how much you pay me. Let's run a 5K, Dan. I'd rather wake up in the morning and have Bruce Lee kick me in the groin.
So dramatic. So dramatic.
A little hyperbolic, but you get my point. So, you know, with lifting and things like that, people think that they have to transition to, oh, I only lift light weights now, or I only do light weights, high reps, or that sort of thing, or I only do machines now.
Which I love that meme that was The Rock. So if anyone's seen The Rock, he recently lost a bunch of weight for a role as an MMA fighter. Right?
No, he was still swole because the guy he was playing, Mark Kerr, was huge too.
Oh, no,
but
I
he
think
just
this was
lost
for a
weight.
different movie.
I don't think he lost it for a movie. I think he
did.
just
Anyway.
lost it.
But it showed a picture of The Rock like fully like pumped and jacked, and it said low reps, high weights. And then him really skinny recently at an award ceremony, and it said high reps, low weights.
Yeah. So if people think that they have to transition to something like that, oh, I only do machines now.
Yeah.
Oh, I only do light weights for high reps. And, you know, your head's trending in the right direction. Like maybe your training has to change, but you still want to lift
challenge.
fairly heavy. You still want to challenge yourself, and we're still trying to get stronger, right? Because now we're quote unquote on this other side of the hill where adaptations are going to come a lot harder. So it's going to be a lot harder to get your body to adapt in a positive way, but you're also kind of sliding down, right?
Yeah.
You know, sarcopenia is becoming a thing. You know, loss of muscle power is becoming a thing. So you're kind of sliding backwards, if you will, because age is coming in. So you still have to keep that stimulus there so that you don't.
Yeah,
right?
you have to train smarter, because when you first, especially for people who have been lifting for a long time, right? Like you've been lifting for
I'm going on
north of 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years of consistent training. Yeah.
And when you very first start training, I remember this in CrossFit, you have the adaptation, like your gains are so quick
Yep,
because
rookie window. Yep.
it's also because your central nervous system is learning to adapt. And so now it's becoming more efficient. And so you're utilizing more things, and you didn't really need to change much to then see the results, right? Now, there's not very much change going on. Stuff's, you know, running pretty smoothly. You know, the central nervous system is firing how it's going to fire. Granted, you can always have improvements and make changes and things like that, but you need to train smarter to make changes to result in adaptations and the results that you want. It's not just more volume, which I think a lot of people resort to.
Yeah.
Like if this isn't working, I just need to do it harder and faster and longer.
Yeah, with regards to strength training specifically, I that's one thing, and I've told you this, as I get older, I'm looking for ways to drop my volume, because whenever I go high volume on something, what do we refer to by volume? We're talking about the amount of reps that you're doing, the amount of training sessions that you're doing. So there's volume per session, or volume in the exercise, volume in the session, volume in your week, right? Hey, how many reps am I doing in this set? Hey, what I would call high volume would be sets that are 12 reps. Even 10 reps can be high volume, but let's call them 12 plus rep sets. And then when we talk about volume in the session, I'm talking about sessions like something high volume. Hey, you're doing more than, you know, a couple hundred reps in total in the session and over 6-7 exercises in one session. Whereas now I'm older, the 12 rep stuff, unless it's small muscles like bicep curls, tricep stuff, upper back like face pulls and things like that, you know, I'm not doing high rep squats and high rep deadlifts. That's out. Don't feel great after that. And then the amount of exercises in the session, maybe 5, you know, like really heavy lifts, a couple of accessories, some explosive stuff, boom, you're done. And then over the week, me personally, people are like, oh, you must lift like 6 days a week. No, I don't. 3 days a week of weights, you know, and I've found over the years, I used to do 5 back in the CrossFit days, which there's a debate there because the original CrossFit model wasn't meant to do 5 days in a row. But then when I transitioned, then I went down to 4, and then I ended up with this 3-day-a-week thing that I was trying out, and that has consistently over the years
it's also
been where
because
I've gotten my strongest and gotten the best results.
the 3-day. This is why it's so important to have a coach in some capacity, whether it's one-on-one, you're part of a group, or whatever. Because I also was training after I got done with CrossFit. I was doing 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah, you were in
Yeah.
the gym,
And
sister.
then I was doing Field Strong, which is 6 days a week as well. But there was days in there that had it wasn't weightlifting. It was like either like a sprint day or something like that. And even the programming we do now is 6 days a week, but it's only 3 days of lifting. The other days are like mobility and zone 2, maybe, right? And it's also a programming specifically to complement jujitsu. So it takes into account that you're going to be rolling as well.
Which is another one, because a lot of guys
Yeah.
are getting into jujitsu now, especially at this age. And when they ask me, I'm already I've been in the game for a while. But I'm like, hey, whatever you're doing in the gym, that's going to have to change. You have to consider how you're rolling, who you're rolling with, what school are you going to? All these things become a factor so that you can accommodate the intensity of training jujitsu with what you're doing in the gym.
But the 3-day a week, I think, needs to blend more to a full body.
Yes.
Because when we were doing 4, 5, 6 days a week outside of CrossFit, it wasn't full body.
No, it was splits.
Yes.
We were upper
So that's-
lowers, or you
yeah.
were, but
Well, I just want to specify that because if somebody's like, well, if I do, I can't do because then I can't hit all my body parts in 3 days. Well, because you're doing a full body workout.
Now, when you train full body, you're training in movement patterns. You're not training muscles.
I know.
Which
Yes.
is
Yeah.
that's
a good
something
point.
That people tend to but how am I going to hit shoulders? I mean, you can sprinkle them in there every now and then, but the sessions are designed to be shorter. But you're training your big rocks. You're eating steak and potatoes, right? Training shoulders directly might be broccoli, or it might be a little side thing that you may or may not need to have. But
Those
you need to have
rear
steak.
delts are little side pieces.
Yeah, but you need to have steak and potatoes. So you need to have some upper body pushing, upper body pulling. You need to have some squatting, some lunging, some hinging, that sort of thing. I think the 3-day-a-week model my body responds really well to it. And then what I do is forgo a lot of the high volume stuff because I already know, I've confirmed it multiple times, that whenever I hit high volume sets of something crazy, lunges, whatever movement, that I'm going to feel straight dookie. I'm destroyed. I'm going to be sore as hell, or I'm going to be drained, a fatigue sets in that even if I'm not sore, it's I just feel off. And then I'm at jujitsu and I'm moving. I feel like I'm trying to run through water. And I could tell hey, my CNS is not firing the way that I want it to fire.
And I tend to handle more volume better than you. And I think that that's a male versus female thing.
Yes.
Women tend to handle
I
more
think
volume.
there's it's multifactorial. Yes, women tend to handle volume.
Say it's because I'm younger.
No, I was gonna say because of your sporting background.
Okay.
So yes, women tend to handle volume better than men. And when I write programs for men and women, if I write the same thing, I kind of put more volume on the women's side and I take away from the men. So you might find 12 rep sets in the women's thing. You might find 6 sets of 4 or 6 sets of 5 on there, especially in upper body stuff, because you're not going to have the same oomph as a dude. So you're going to need more sets to get it out of you. Whereas a guy, I might use 3 sets of 4. I same exercise. Hey, it's a pin press, it's a bench press or whatever. 6 sets of 5, 3 sets of 4, something like that. I play around with that. So yes, I think women handle volume better. Men handle the intensity better, like hitting 1RMs and hitting heavy 2s and things like that. I tend to keep that out of the female programs and leave it to the male programs. And the women, I'm more like 6s, 5s, you know. So yes, that's something there. But with you, I think because you played soccer, which is a high volume sport, meaning you're running around, you're putting in miles and miles and miles. And, that obviously develops your aerobic base really well. I think you're also being female and having that background, you tend to handle volume better because of that. Swimmers are the other ones that tend to be very adept at handling volume as well, because swimming practice is 2 hours, 3 hours,
Right.
like it's crazy, and you're in the water going and going and going and going. I swam, but I think either I was too young and I didn't do it long enough. Now, granted, I'm very endurance biased too. Like that's my background, was all that running. So I don't know. I just, volume doesn't do me well now at this age,
Well, yeah. I think high intensity volume or moderate intensity volume doesn't do you well. Low intensity volume, like zone 2 stuff, you can do.
Oh no, that because that barely registers in the nervous system when you're doing zone 2.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing aerobic base work, that barely registered, but if doing intervals, that hits hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I like. Yeah. So I think it's important to say that we need to make sure that we're not going, because I fall victim to this a lot, or I do this a lot, is we need to make sure we don't fall into autopilot and just do a workout to do it because that's what it says, and we disregard how our body's responding and what it's trying to tell us. Like, I see a lot of people who they're not experiencing improvements from their workout, so it can't be the workout. They just need to do more, do that, when maybe they need to change what they're doing in their workout.
Some people
and paying
just wanna
attention to how is your body responding? How's your sleep? How's your soreness? How's your recovery? How's your energy? All these things.
Some people just want to do things because they suck.
Yeah. So it's that whole don't mistake activity for achievement.
Yeah.
When Dan programs for people, and I 100% behind him on this, we want people to achieve their intended goal or outcome. We don't want to program you just do something to do something.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's something like I think now at 40, like the purpose has to be there.
Yeah.
And it has to move you closer to something. I don't like writing workouts to entertain people.
Yeah.
It's more of like, hey, if you do this, you're gonna get there, and you're gonna get there injury free. And you're gonna get there feeling pretty good. We're not gonna pull into, hey, we made it to this health goal that we had, but my knee fell off type of thing. We're not doing that. And a lot of, at this age, these adjustments that you start making, like for example, specialty bars. People don't know about specialty bars. So
Trap bars,
Swiss bars, safety squat bars, things like these things are your friend now, especially as you get older, so that you can keep lifting. If you're still trying to fit straight bar deadlifts off the floor every week into your, hey, listen, some 40-year-olds are out there, they can get away with it. I'm not one of them. It doesn't feel great. I like the trap bar though. I could lift that every week, and feel pretty freaking good. We've changed our warm-ups. Like we're putting pre-pump work in front of the big lift now, so that, do some lunges, do some like really cool, like on deadlift days, make sure we're going laterally, which opens up the adductors, and then you deadlift and you feel pretty freaking good afterwards. So now, I guess we hit this point, where you're wiser, you're older, and you just want to feel pretty freaking good, but you still want to be a BAMF. You know what I mean? You still want to be
Bad Mamma Jamma?
You still want to be a bad Mamma Jamma. So, and you want to work towards being a bad Mamma Jamma. So what I like to tell people is like, it's not that you can't, it's that the margin for error is less. You know what I mean? So you have to dial in even more. This applies to your nutrition as well. Margin for error is way less. Hey, the cheat meal that you were having every Saturday at 42 can't happen. Now we're talking like once a month.
Yeah.
Maybe once every couple of months. If you
I don't
really
even
wanna
like the
dial
word
in.
cheat meal. Like, what's something you just enjoy that?
Yeah, but like eating
No, I
off
understand what you
plan.
mean.
Like
Yeah.
it used to be every Saturday night. Can't happen anymore. It's not gonna work if you're doing it like that.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes when you realize like, oh, I need to make a change because this isn't working for me, that's when it's very useful, like I said, to get a coach in some capacity. Dan is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff, not because he's just continually educating himself on this, but also because, as you've heard, he's lived through a lot of lessons, okay? And so I, definitely reach out to us. Or if you don't want to work one-on-one with somebody, we're a part of the Power Athlete community. We can direct you to that, or we can, he's a big fan of DeFranco's programming, and just we're happy to point you in any directions. But the biggest point is that you typically cannot work out like you used to in your teens, your 20s, or maybe even your 30s. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop working out.
Yeah, this worked 10 years ago. Why isn't it working now? You'll find yourself saying that.
Yeah.
And
I think it's important to, because one of the things that as I'm looking into getting certified through Power Athlete, they have the SAID principle, specific adaptation to impose demand. Now, this is used in the context of athletes, right? If I have a running back or a linebacker, they're going to be doing similar but different things because their position imposes different demands, right? Am I saying that correctly? Yeah. But I like to think about that from a general population point of view. I want to know what the woman in her mid-40s or 50s, what is her goal? What demands do I need to put on her so that she can achieve her goal in a safe way so that she feels good while doing it?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I love. Like when I said I went to the Sorinex Summer Strong and heard all these like Olympic level athletes talking or collegiate athletes talking or coaches talking, and then looking at the principles of this coaching, can we take what athletes do? Because they rely on the same pillars that we all do. And can we modify that in a way for the general population? Because there's nothing wrong with if you have a 9 to 5 and you don't think you're anything special, you can still have a goal. You can want to feel good and you can train in a way to do that. There's been so many times when I've been at a gym and somebody comes up and is like, what are you training for? And I'm, life, to not die, and I don't have to be a sport. I don't have to have an event. I don't have to have a competition coming up to be getting after it, because that is beneficial for my body, mind, and soul that I'm doing that. And we want to help open that up to everybody. You don't just have to do the couch to 5K. You don't have to run. You don't have to only go to a spin class or in anything else. You can lift weights. You can get after it. It's just going to look different than the people on Instagram.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I also, like, there are people out there that listen to us that they're, they're in the gym already and they've been in the gym for a while, but they're still trying to, the stuff they've been doing for years has now become a square peg and they're trying to put it in a round hole.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm deadlifting every week off the floor, baby. Like I've been doing for 20 years. My back feels like trash, but I'm still doing it, bro.
Yeah.
It's like,
I had a friend message me. She's like, I used a trap bar the other day and I thought of you because I post a lot of my videos of me using trap bars. She's like, this is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, well, after deadlifting with a straight bar for 20 plus years, it feels cool to do something different and you still feel powerful and you're lifting
still
heavy
driving.
weight.
So you're still driving adaptation. You're still lifting heavy ass weights. Listen, your body doesn't care about the implement. It cares about with the adaptation that you're eliciting, right? It cares about the stressor. Yeah. What's the stressor that you need to get the adaptation? You need heavy weights. How do we get the heavy weights? Whether we get them with a machine, whether we get them with dumbbells, whether we get them with a trap bar, whether we get them with a straight bar, the body don't care. All it's gonna know is like, ooh, I gotta get stronger because this crazy dude is making me lift heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So the principles remain the same, right? How we implement the principles change over the years. And, in 8 years, I might be here like, hey, guys, this is episode number 500 of PharmaPhobic, and I turned 50, so I'm going to change up what I've been telling you that I was doing in my 40s. This is how I'm going to change it. But the principles still remain the same. Stronger, healthier, more capable, right?
Right.
So
I said we were going to talk about our GI map results. We do not have time. So cliffhanger, y'all. You'll have to come back next time if you want to know about our poop. But no red flags, just stuff that we're going to optimize. So I think it'll just be fun to share and just make this more common knowledge.
Yeah,
maybe we'll have Dan's sleep study that's in his likely email.
So
right
I
now.
think we'll continue this conversation of pursuing health when you get older, when white stuff starts showing up in your face or your head.
Here.
Yeah, so we'll continue this conversation. The gut stuff is probably going to put us into nutrition.
Yep.
And we can, the training stuff, I mean, it matters a lot. It depends a lot. Different people have different goals. So I could be like, hey, I still want to run half marathons in my 40s. Okay, That's a
Yep.
separate conversation. How do we do that smartly? You know, I want to power lift. I'm in my, which by the way, Tammy from New York
Yeah.
messaged me, and she just went to nationals or something and set a freaking record for, she's got to be 85 now.
Let's go.
She pulled like 200 something pounds, 214, and she's like, "Thank you for introducing me to sumo."
Oh, I love that.
So, and I was, man, I mean, she's just going. She's got a 85, 86.
That's wonderful.
Just going. She's going to powerlifting competitions, y'all. So anyway, but see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Hey, there's still, with her, this is years ago, she was already 80. And she wanted to deadlift. She wanted to lift heavy. She wanted to try this stuff. And I just kind of saw how she would sound. I was like, you know what? You should probably pull that thing sumo. I think that'd be a good lift. I could see she could move her knees out to the side really well. Her arms were long enough. I'm like, you probably pull that thing sumo. And here she is going to powerlifting meets, national powerlifting meets at 85 and pulling over 200 pounds sumo.
Love that.
And she feels great. So, hey, it ain't over yet, guys. So I think we'll couch it there, and next episode we'll keep coming back at you with the rules of 40.
Yeah, and so one thing that's been going on is if you follow us on Instagram, not on Achieve the Lifestyle, but us individually, you'll see that we're reposting people working out for this collective that we're going to. So that's within Power Athlete, right? And it had me thinking that I love seeing other people, my friends, right? I don't care so much about, strangers, but people who I know or I interact with, I love seeing them work out. I think it's great, especially when they achieve a goal or something like that. It's wonderful. I love how these people are tagging us on Instagram and sharing it, because I don't know, it's just getting the energy up and things like that. And I want to normalize that. I know a lot of people, sometimes I feel self-conscious about posting videos of me working out a lot. And I know I have some people, there's like that meme going around like, stop posting yourself working out. And there's that stat, if you film your workouts, you're most likely to be, psychotic or whatever, right? I love it. And I encourage people to film your workouts if you want, or share your achievements. If you put it on social media, feel free to tag Achieve the Lifestyle or us individually. We will share, because I will argue this. If you're going to post pictures of you drinking with friends, wearing like a nice outfit, but
putting
standing
your
still,
25th Chick-fil-A meal of the week in your face,
doing that, post it and people like it. I'd rather see what your body can do. Like, let's do something. Let's move it. Let's lift some weights. Share that. Be proud of that. And who cares if it's not perfect form I've been lifting for 20 plus years. I'm sure I still butcher forms on things. Dan will probably say 100% you do. So
I do.
And so, but
I'm still
post it. I love to share it. And that's I just think we need to normalize people moving their bodies and doing things. So tag us, share it if you want. If you don't want us to share it.
Hey, if you don't think that we need to normalize people, getting after it and pursuing their health, let's refer to how we started the show. 76% chronic illness rate. So apparently there's at least 25%, 24% of the population that is maybe doing a little something.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, 3/4 of the population, are not. So we need to bring them along. Also, if you learn something from the show, or you learn something in your individual health journey, I want you to share that too with people, tag us on it. But I feel like it's like you got to spread the gospel. You got to spread the word. Be like, hey, I started eating this and I got this result. I feel way better, blah, blah, blah. Or I started doing this exercise, or I started following this workout program, or I started going to bed at 8:30 o'clock at night and I feel really, hey, share that. Share that with somebody who might be struggling,
Or, hey, I've consistently drank 90 ounces or however many ounces of water a day, because that's not easy.
No,
it's not always
others.
easy. Okay.
Tell other people, and who cares if they didn't ask you for your health experience or what you've been doing.
We will
that's working
definitely
for you.
share it. We'll like it.
Yeah.
We'll hype you up. I like when my friends tag me, or they don't even tag me, they just post in their videos. I'll leave them like a little voice memo as a comment on the video, like in their DM, and I'm like, let's go, like if I were there in person. Because how great is it when you lift with friends and they're like cheering you on?
Yeah, I see it as like, if you kind of figure your health out or you get to a certain level in health, then you have to turn around and bring other people up.
Right, because how many people see you and they never in their wildest minds would have thought that you were 220 pounds, smoking every day, drinking and eating out.
Oh, my boys.
Well, I know your boys know.
My boys know. They know. They were there. Well, yeah.
No, but I mean, just people you've met later in life. I mean, I'm sure, like, and I've gotten this. I'm sure people come to you and they're like, "Oh, he's lucky. He's always been that way." I've had that comment to me about, "Oh, Janie, you're lucky that you have you eat healthy." I'm lucky I eat healthy.
Yeah, we did work.
Like, I didn't prepare this ahead of time and spend so anyway. We just need to normalize that being active, lifting heavy weights, taking care of your body deserves far more attention than going and getting belligerent drunk and posting videos about it. And I did that too. I understand. But let's change the narrative. And we're here to hype you up and support it. And we want to see it.
Yep. So guys, if you have any questions, you can DM us. We love topic suggestions. Somebody gave me a topic suggestion that we need to deep dive in. That one requires homework because we're going to be talking about food companies.
Yeah.
We also have, so if you have topic suggestions, hit us up. You have any questions, anything you need help with, hit us up, achievethelifestyle.com or info@achievethelifestyle. Email, is it .com too?
info@achievethelifestyle.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hit us up there or get us on Instagram @achievethelifestyle and hit us with the DMs, okay? Because you know what that great poet once said, it go down in the DM.
Wow.
Anyway, you guys, I think that's all we got for today. I think next episode we'll go into gut health and we'll talk about nutrition in our 40s and a little bit more about training in our 40s because I think this could help a lot of people.
And spoiler alert, it's a lot about stress.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, we're learning too because I've never been 40 before. Okay? So we're learning. And Janie's definitely never been 40. So here we are. She's
That's
just a
such
little
a dad thing to
she's
say.
just a little baby 40-year-old.
Okay, we're done.
Anyway,
We're done.
guys, till next time, you know what I want you to do, right? Stay pharma free. Thanks for listening to the PharmaPhobic podcast. If you found this conversation interesting, which I know you did, make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to check us out on Instagram @AchieveTheLifestyle. And if you're interested in pursuing a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself, check out our website @achievethelifestyle.com.
The PharmaPhobic podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical or wellness decisions. While we discuss pharmaceutical, holistic, and alternative health topics, our content is not a substitute for professional medical guidance.